They say the dead can't speak, but what if they've simply been waiting for you to finally listen? I didn't expect Pasiyam to linger. I thought I was watching another ghost story, but what I got was a quiet reminder that sometimes the scariest hauntings don't come from the other side. They come from us. Our silence, our regrets, the things we keep buried. Pasiyam, directed by Eric Mati, is one of those films that doesn't scream at you. It doesn't jump out of the shadows, no. It sits with you, quietly, like a presence you're not sure is there until it's far too late. Set in a modest Filipino home after the death of a mother, the film follows five siblings who reunite during the traditional 9 days of prayer, the Pasiyam, hoping for peace. But what unravels isn't closure. It's resentment, repressed wounds, and a darkness that has waited patiently. When a mother dies, we grieve. We remember. But what if the person we're mourning has something more to say? Let me tell you the story. The film Pasiyam begins with the death of a mother and the return of her estranged children. Nilo, the eldest, comes home with his two sisters, Denise, who brings along her daughter Janelle, and Sylvia, their beautiful middle sibling. They're joined by Angel, the free-spirited brother who once had an affair with the caretaker's daughter, and Ruth, their mentally challenged younger sister. Years have passed since they've all been together. Distance and time have eroded their bonds. Each of them now lives a separate life, scattered across the world, and the only thing that brings them back is death.
Bukas na libing.
Their mother had been left in the care of a local family, people they trusted. She spent her final years in the old mansion under their supervision. And now, with her gone, the siblings reunite to hold a novena, 9 days of prayer for their mother's soul. A tradition, a ritual, a chance maybe for healing. But almost immediately, strange things begin to happen. During the first day of the novena, the house turns cold. Unfamiliar sounds echo at night. Lullabies whispered through the walls. The quiet crying of something unseen. One morning, the eldest sister wakes up in a room filled with rot. Feces, vomit, urine, and spoiled food smeared everywhere. It doesn't make sense. And worse, the trusted helper family vanishes without a word. Something is definitely wrong. One by one, the siblings experience increasingly disturbing events. Rooms shift, objects move, the air grows heavier. The mansion, once a home, becomes a tomb of memories, and the mystery only deepens. How did their mother die? Was it murder? By whom? That's when the Espiritista arrives, an old woman with the ability to connect with souls and recall events from the past. She helps the sibling communicate with their mother's spirit, and through her, the truth is revealed piece by piece. They discover a family photo album. Every picture intact, except for one detail. Ruth is the only one not scratched out. The rest of their names, erased. It's symbolic and terrifying. Then comes another revelation. Their trusted family priest was involved with their mother. Ruth is his child. The old lady guides the siblings to a locked, abandoned room in the house. And inside, their mother's story unfolds. Her pain, her loneliness, her emotional death. After the siblings left, the mother was mistreated. She was bathed in scalding water, starved, locked in a room soiled with her waste. Every night, she would cry and bang her head against the wall until it bled. It wasn't strangers who did this to her. It was the absence of her children, their decision to leave her, to send money and forget. And then, the final blow. Behind layers of paper plastered on the wall, they find names written. Their names. It wasn't a question of who killed her anymore. It was a confession that emotional abandonment cuts deeper than any knife. As the novena nears its end, the mother's soul takes Ruth, perhaps as a form of consequence or maybe as an act of release. Ruth, whose mind was trapped as their mother's body had been, dies by strangulation. And now, both souls are at peace. Grief doesn't end at the funeral. We like to think it does. Once the prayers are said, the candles are blown out, and the dishes are washed, we move on. But Pasiyam reminds us that grief is a ghost of its own. It lingers in the hallways. It echoes in old arguments. It slips into the spaces we don't talk about. Each sibling in the movie is haunted, not just by their mother's death, but by the life they lived with her. The unspoken resentments, the misunderstandings, the guilt of not being there. Or worse, being there, but never truly seeing her. This film doesn't throw loud scares at you. Instead, the horror creeps in through silence, those moments where no one knows what to say, but everything is felt. The kind of silence that builds tension at the dinner table or turns into shouting when it finally breaks. The house becomes a pressure cooker. The longer they stay, the more the air feels heavy. Something is wrong, but no one wants to say what it is. That's what makes the horror hit close. It feels like a family secret you were never meant to watch. The supernatural is real, but so is regret. Yes, there's a ghost. Yes, there are unexplained events, but the most disturbing moments come when the siblings are forced to look at themselves. What they've done, what they've buried. In one key scene, we're reminded that the mother they're praying for might not have been praying for them. That twist of perception, of realizing the dead have something to say, not just to spook you, but to confront you, makes the horror less about the afterlife and more about the lives we live unfinished. And maybe the most terrifying part, this haunting doesn't end when you leave the house. It follows you in the form of a memory. Pasiyam hit me in a way I wasn't expecting. Not with jump scares or loud exorcisms, but with that quiet kind of horror. The kind that asks you, have you moved on? Because sometimes we think we've buried things. We throw dirt over memories. We say a few words and light a candle. But there are things you can't bury that easily. Things that claw their way back. Especially when the house is quiet and your guard is down. Watching this film made me think about the things I haven't said. About the people that I've lost. And the words that never made it out of my mouth in time. It reminded me that grief isn't just sadness, it's complicated. Sometimes it's guilt, sometimes it's anger, and sometimes it's silence that you carry like a second skin. Pasiyam doesn't just ask what happens when the dead comes back. It asks, what if we never really let them go? Or worse, what if they never let us go? Because something still needs to be heard.